We'll talk in a few moments about the next roundtable. It will deal with health tech, a trinational journey. SEMIA, the University of Basel, and Baden Campus are three key actors in the health tech Upper Rhine landscape. And they will discuss of it with you.
So welcome to our next roundtable. Welcome to our panel discussion. I'm looking forward to moderate it. Our next session is Health Tech, a Trinational Journey. My name is Florian Weber and I will be the moderator for the next few minutes. In our next session, we will take a look at a few organizations, a variety of organizations, which committed to support startups, which committed to support innovation. They assist startups and they want to give them more variety. How they do, how they act and what they are, they will explain in the panel. And also we will learn how about one startup experienced this journey via Trinational Health Tech Days. So I would like to welcome many guests on stage here for our panel discussion, and I would like to welcome Stéphane Jouvrier from SEMIA. Welcome, Stéphane. You need to get your mic over there, so maybe just enter stage from this side. Welcome, Stéphane, take a seat. My next guest is from a life science accelerator in Baden-Württemberg, and I would like to welcome also with a big applause Bodo Brückner. Welcome, Bodo, take a seat. For Baden Campus in Breisach, I would like to welcome Malaika Lauk. Welcome, Malaika. We also have a guest from Basel. For the University of Basel, the Innovation Office, I would like to welcome Professor Dr. Hans-Florian Zeilhofer. Take a seat, but can you leave this one for me and take a seat here? Thank you. And we have one more guest in our today's panel, and I would like to welcome for Sparta Medical, Engin Vrada. Welcome, take a seat. So, as I mentioned in my introduction, we are going to talk about health tech as a trinational journey. And you represent a variety of organizations, and I would like to start with my first question to Stéphane. Stéphane, you're from SEMIA. Can you tell us what SEMIA is, what you're doing, and also you're part of the Trinational Health Tech Days. Maybe you can give us a hint what Trinational Health Tech Days are.
Okay, we start with the second part of the question, the what, and before the what, the question was the why. Why working on a trinational level, and why at some point incubators, structure like ours, decided to work together on this specific field, which is health tech. For us, at some point, we have so many energies, so many scientists, so many entrepreneurs, and working at this level make us somehow, and as I say, visible from space. And that's the point. We want this territory to be visible. We all know about Boston, of course, and we won't be Boston, for sure. But we can exist on an international level if we gather and bring all of forces together. And that's the whole point of this initiative, this trinational, and with two fields that were interested for us, the access market, because we are sharing different markets, different opportunities, and for startups, it's interesting to work on that. And another point is in the financing of the startups. And for SEMIA as itself, I'm the director of this incubator, and we are working with startups from the tech fields. In the health tech industry, we're working with about 60 startups, which make us maybe the biggest incubator in France in this field. And for us, it's a priority to make this number grow. It's not because size matters. Somehow it is. because the more entrepreneurs we'll have, the more entrepreneurs we'll generate, and the more people we will be here in this area to bring science from the labs to the markets.
Thank you. And can you name a field which is helpful for startups?
The cash, money. That's the whole point for those tech startups. I mean, we need this, and especially at the beginning, seed, pre-seed, whatever you call it. And what we're going to try to bring all together is our portfolio of startups who are looking for this money. And when you're able to bring to investors 60, 70, 100 startups who are seeking funds only on those fields, you become interesting for these funds. And that's what we're trying to do all together. And we're going to develop a platform that make it visible for these investors. That's the whole point of collaborating all together. We are bringing things on the table from SEMIA, from other incubators. The origin doesn't matter. It's the collective goal that matters.
And can you explain a little bit more how you do it?
We have developed a specific platform where startups will have their video, all information related to their fund and financing round. And we will open this platform to all our friends here around the table. And we'll invite investors to connect to this and see what is really the deal flow live and organize events using this tool. We're going to launch this during this year. It's in developing process, but in a few months it's going to be available. And this is going to be a tool for us to directly connect to the VC funds, family offices, and so on.
Thank you. What I want you to have next. So you're from Life Science Accelerator in Baden-Württemberg. Can you tell us what you do in your daily business, what Life Science Accelerator is?
Sure, I can. So what is the Life Science Accelerator Baden-Württemberg? Actually, we are two partners. This is partners, 4 partners from 2 cities, Heidelberg and Mannheim. Guess what? So this is already exceptional that both cities are working together. So it's a mini ecosystem what we are trying to achieve here together with people from STRASBOURG and also from Breisach, that is the Baden campus. So the Life Science Accelerator is recruiting teams like other accelerators do twice a year from digital health, medtech and biotech. And then they get 25 workshops. So everyone has to take them. And specifically for each startup, there is special mentorship depending on what they need, because they're different, they need different advice, different expertise. And this is also one reason that we are so happy to be here in this ecosystem, because there's a ton of expertise. We all have a learning mindset, and actually our teams have a learning mindset. So this is certainly 100% aligned with what Stéphane has already told us.
And can you tell us which additional aspect in part of investment is helpful for startups?
Well, okay, you have investments. This is, in the best case, you have investments. Not everyone has it, so this we have to admit. So depending on how you perform, what your technology is, whether you are in the right place, etc. However, many of our teams seek, obviously, or most of the teams seek access to hospitals. And this is where we are very happy to have in our region, in this case in Mannheim, the so-called Inspire Living Lab, which is a department of the hospital, a real department, 26 beds, so now no showroom, just real department, and startups can apply. Startups apply, and they are in a funnel, and they get shaken as always, and finally something drops through. In this case, it was the first team from Munich, CliniServe. They are now evaluating their technology in the setting of a real hospital, and this is something that's quite valuable. We have similar activities in Freiburg, we have similar activities also in the region here. So this is something we want to contribute, and I think it's really quite attractive as well.
And how does the international aspect support this?
Very good point. So why are we sitting here, by the way? So okay, there are other accelerators. Why are we sitting here? But that's pretty simple. Physimed, a startup from SEMIA. So Physimed approached us and asked, hey, we saw that you have some quite nice workshops, soft landing opportunities, market access. Would it be possible to participate? And we thought, hey, why not, we won't complain. So we just have to ask the federal state of Baden-Württemberg. They said, yes, do it. So we said, okay, come. And this is how all developed. Every step developed with this interaction. And so this is something quite important. So without Physiomed, without Emeline Hahn, without Katharina Zorulin, who is also here in the audience, we most likely wouldn't be sitting here. And then Guillaume is the story. Guillaume approached us, hey, have you ever heard about the Trinational Health Tech Days? Would it be something you want to be part of? And obviously, yes, for sure. Who would like to miss this weather? Who would like to miss this beautiful town? Who would like to miss this very nice ecosystem and partners?
And of course, who would like to miss this wonderful audience here?
Yes, sorry.
Thank you, Bodo. Malaika, we heard something about Life Science Accelerator. We heard about SEMIA. We also heard two topics that are important. So one is investment, and Bodo mentioned the clinical point, so the access to clinics. You're from Baden Campus. Maybe you could start telling us what Baden Campus is doing?
So, yes, what I want to point out, Baden Campus is an innovation platform. So we connect talents with companies, with investors, with municipalities, with science and research. And we try to do this in an inspiring working surround, just to support creative solutions for business and society concerning new technologies. And so we have also an accelerator, and that's so the same what Bodo mentioned before, or Semia, you mentioned before, Stefan. It's all about the work around. I do not want to repeat it. But the main thing as an innovation platform is always also the network behind the network and the partners you're working with. Like for us, example, also the Pfizer Healthcare Hub or the Esculapi Brown Innovation Hub. And it's about our initiative we use and build as an ecosystem with Stadinsland, our innovation ecosystem Baden-Württemberg. So it's always necessary to have that people behind the people to speed innovation up and to help to support that the right people come together. And that's also the reason why we found us and why we said on one point, if you want to push trinational innovation, you should do it cross-border and you should do it together, and that's why we're here.
And can you name maybe a little bit more specific what additional area Baden Campus is delivering for the systems? We heard about the access to clinics, we heard about investment topics. Is there something Baden Campus specific?
Okay, the one thing is investment is always very necessary, and in life science you need that clinic access, by the way. I think what's a little bit more specific, but it's for our region, it's that so-called German Mittelstand, SMEs, but they're also cross-border, some of them, and more and more companies, they just recognize that they can speed up their innovation by partner up with startups. But most of them are not experienced, especially this German Mittelstand with this. And there it can be very helpful to support them on that way for a successful partnership. So, for example, the Baden Campus has his cooperation workshop where we work closely together with corporations, where we make for them some startup scouting for a special challenge they have, and where we try on the other side bring it to a successful partnership. Because I give you an example. If a company is not used to work with startup, and maybe they have a person who is responsible for a pilot project with a startup, and then an important client is placing an order. They stopped that person to work on the pilot project with the startups. These are things that should not happen. And even the difference maybe in cultural aspects, maybe you are more developing your software with Scrum and you're faced to a company who is really successful in the past, and you can learn about their expertise, about manufacturing and engineering, but it should on both sides be with a lot of respect. And there are many difficulties which can happen, and just to support this process, that's one thing Baden Campus do. And on the other hand, what we are doing together is bringing startup together with companies, and that's a very, very valuable thing.
And you also mentioned municipalities, so you bring them together with municipalities as well.
Sure, we are also concentrated at Baden Campus to the strength of our region. That's also a smart region, industry and health. And for sure, as I told you before, it's about an innovation platform to bring them all together.
Thank you. Professor Zeilhofer, you're from Innovation Office of the University of Basel. And as we all know, I think in Basel there are a lot of large companies. What can they do for startups, maybe through your Innovation Office?
Yeah, very large companies. You can name them. Roche, Novartis, Johnson & Johnson, Idorsia, Basilea, also medtech companies. And what can these companies do for innovation? They have big amounts of money for innovation, but in general, they buy a good startup company. I haven't seen in Roche or Novartis R&D coming out a new formula for a blockbuster themselves. But it's very important, not the big companies, but the people who are working in these big companies. We have 40,000 experts in a small area. You can reach them in 10 minutes, everybody by bicycle. This is a high value. And with these companies, we have also cutting-edge lawyers, patent attorneys, regulatory experts. And here, so myself, I did several startup companies, spin-offs from the university, and I agree, it's very hard to find the money. And so at the end, it's very important to have VCs, business angels in our area. The Innovation Office of our university, we offer a startup everything you need, I would say everything you need to become successful. In all these domains you need, and you need it in depending on the subject you are going for, you need at a special time a special competence. And you need somebody who coaches you and who helps you to find in the right moment the right competence. We have all this competence around, even the money. And at the moment, we are finishing the first big building. It is on a campus. It's a innovation, Basel, Switzerland Innovation Campus in Basel, a big area of 75,000 square meters. And the university is in the center of this campus. So it becomes an innovation campus, not an industrial campus. Yeah? And what I would wish, for example, so I have met today so many people with really enthusiastic in innovation. And I think we need in this area, Switzerland, Germany, France. Each area here in this three regio area has not enough startups to support. So we should bundle our forces and make a facility, a source for investment, for ecosystem, to help you, for the startup scene, to become successful. I think this is, for me, the most important thing, because I realized if you go in a phase 1, in a phase B, in a phase C, capital increase, at the end, when the risks become less and less, and you have to scale up, you need more money. Less risk, but more money. And then you have to go to the US, in other countries where the deal flow is a bit more. And this is not good for our region. And we have to work here to make a strengthening for our startups who are really cutting-edge startups.
I think you mentioned one very important point, which you mentioned as well, all of you. So this is to bundle all the expertise, all the energy. And I think the Trinational Health Tech Days are one of those ideas to bundle those experience. And what you told us sounds very nice, to be honest, and it sounds very, very good. But we have Engin here, and Engin, you from Sparta Medical. Maybe before I ask my first question, can you give us a short introduction what Sparta Medical does?
Sure, of course. We are a company which develops coatings with multiple functions such as antimicrobial and anti-inflammatory properties for medical devices.
And you heard them talk and how important it is to support startups, to give them more visibility, for example, to gain investments. And you experienced the Trinational journey, you experienced the Trinational Health Tech Days. Can you tell us where it started for you and where you're standing now?
Sure. We have a European origin to our technology. Is first developed in a European project where the hospital in Mannheim was one of the partners, the Red Cross there. And so we always looked outward. And we are lucky that Semya as an incubator always had the same mindset too. And when the Trinational Days had this perfect advantage of we are an accessory technology, we need other medical device developers. So during the day, we were get to talk with the device developers, get the feedback from them, and at the end of the day, we end up talking with the investors. So I go to the investors with the exact input that is coming from the end user. And that was a perfect setting, and this led to our first seed round, and that seed round then let us go into deeper in our technology. So it was a very important moment for us, and it was very useful for our development.
Can you explain a little bit more what was useful exactly? So how the Trinational Health Tech Days helped you?
We get into these days, we were at the point of our doing seed round. So we have met one of our eventual investors. And also we were at that point discussing with several medical device companies, but it was quite early and we didn't know how to run these discussions. And during the MedTech Days, we met with one of the companies mentioned from Switzerland, and that provided us with the feedback that enabled us to basically sell our project better to the investors. And that initial seed led to other investments. And through that, at the moment, we have finished our first round, and most probably we will look at opportunities in Switzerland and Germany for our Serie A.
Is that what you wanted to do with the Trinational Health Tech Days? How does that sound for you?
That's the way I like it, sure. So, no, I think this is the essence. So we have, as also Stefan described, you have to create visibility, even from outer space maybe, and this would be totally fine, and this is what happened. So, as has also been mentioned, we need to create a critical mass of startups, and together we were able to actually recruit some 72, 75 teams for the last Trinational Health Tech Day with 40 investors and corporates. So this is something we alone as a life science accelerator impossible. There are no 40. Okay, we are good, but there's no way that 40 corporates and investors would show up for maybe 15 companies. No, it makes no sense. So this is why we are collaborating, and I think it really worked out quite nicely for Engine and Sparta Medical. I think that's the perfect message. That is the message that everyone wants to hear.
And what I want to add, this Trinational Health Tech Days, it's always the second day where we match that startups together with investors or corporates. So the first day, we make an effort to transport necessary or valuable information to startups. So in the first year, we are in this year #3. In the first year, we offered what problems or how to get a market access, for example, in France, for example, in Germany, for example, in Switzerland. And on the second Health Tech Days, we offered information about clinic access, about different models of corporations with companies. And so be invited. It's the 13th and 14th this year. And it will happen in Basel. So the first Trinational Health Tech Day, where the first day is in person, yes. And the second day will be still online, so we get more investors there for the matchmaking. That's what I want to add.
Thank you. And Engin, can you tell us a little bit more about how the trinational aspect helped you? So are there differences for you between Germany, France and Switzerland?
There are two aspects for me. For example, there is a word we hear a lot about startups, ecosystem. I have a biology background. In an ecosystem, the richest ecosystem, which creates the most interesting animals, plants, are the more diverse ones. So in this environment, that's what we have. In a very small area, different mindsets, different capabilities, so that we can really have interesting startups. So there is that aspect. And the second thing is that we always say startup, and we are too focused on the up version, like growth. To be able to grow, you need to root too. And the route means going wider, like you need to go wider too. And this is a very important opportunity. You are literally a stone throw away from another country, and internationalization for us is quite easy to achieve. And I try to do it from the beginning, and I recommend everybody to look at it like that, because it is much easier to have this mindset and integrate it in your activity from the beginning rather than trying to do it later. And this environment and this collaboration provides the basis of these. So that is the main advantage.
Sounds good for you, doesn't it?
I love Engine.
I think if you have the trinational aspect, you get also a wider range of view on what you are doing with your startup. If I'm in Switzerland, of course we are #1 in innovation, but we are a very, very small country. And our market is always too small. So we have, in order to successful, to think globally. And if you're in Germany, you think, it's a quite big market, it's a German-speaking market, but that's not the truth, it's a small market. So we have to focus on Europe, and I think in our 3 regions, we can do that, and this helps us a lot in culture, in psychology, in how to go to markets.
Yes, and I think that was what we are talking about in this morning. It's about to deepen this ecosystem here. It's about to get more attraction because we create a possibility where investors are the whole world can have a view on our region and the strength of our region and the technology coming out of our region. So this is a really problem nowadays. If you're a venture capitalist, for example, from the US, how should you realize what happened around Germany, Baden-Württemberg here, and Basel there, and Strasbourg there? So this we should really bring forward to get this more attraction, to get a critical mass, and really to be successful to have that scale up, what you mentioned before, the startups needs. That should be our goal for startups.
That sounds absolutely logical, but can you more explain how you really create the visibility? Because is it just because of the event? Is it just doing one of the trinational health tech days every year? Or what is it to gain that visibility, like, for example, in Berlin or Munich, if we stay with Germany?
I would say it's a long run. It's the third one, okay? And this initiative started because we wanted it to do. It was just a great sense, a great common sense to unify our strengths. And now what happens is some corporates knock on the door from here in France, like let's say L'Oréal. What startups do you have? Okay, we have ours, but we have our friends who have also startups. So we educate the corporate, and we're the entry point. Each of us is an entry point to this whole region. And the visibility will come with time. Every time we have a contact that is interested in health tech companies, we can also speak about our neighbors and think globally and have this collective attitude. And after that, yes, we're going to be visible. But it's a day-to-day effort, and that's what we are trying to do each on our own. And the visibility will come after that with results.
And I think it's also very important to have role models like Sparta Medical. Are there any more from Trinational Health Tech Days?
Well, from the Trinational Health Tech Days, I don't know exactly. However, I mentioned Physimed several times. And if I got it right, Physimed got first reimbursed in Germany before it got reimbursement in France. And I think this is just because they took the first step, coming to Germany to analyze the market, what's important there, and also talk to insurers. So we, as has been mentioned before, we have partners, and we connect them to these partners, and insurers are included. In our case, it's the Techniker Krankenkasse, so I won't make advertisement, but they are the largest, so they are important. And we have, I think the essence is the network of the collected expertise here in the room. Without this network, it does not work. We have partners, super important partners, regularly attending us. For example, today also Pfizer. Pfizer is also here represented, and they are really doing a great job supporting the teams. Not just, hey, what do you have, but also initiating, hey, look, this is something we could do together, and this is something super important. And there are more, but this is part of the success of the network. And it's early, but I think we are already successful. Engineer.
And from our side, it has a cascading effect. So we started with the closest partners in the region, with the trinational, and now we have a Horizon Europe project, which had 4 German and 2 Swiss partners, and it started with the seed. Like, one partner is from the Baden-Württemberg, but the others are their contacts coming from the rest of the Germany, and 2 of them are multinational companies that otherwise most probably we wouldn't have had access to. So there is this cascading effect, and the epicenter is here, and it grows from that. So I think it will work vice versa for German and Swiss companies with the contact to the rest of France.
And you see, it's a journey, and I'm sure we're not following up what happened with every contact we have on these 2 days. Maybe this should be better to take it into account for social media or for advertising what we're doing. So for us, it's in the first step more to help like we did in this case, and what else will coming out from this idea, we will see, as even in the morning we heard about that deep tech trinational ecosystem. Who knows what will happen now with this initiative of K-Tour and us together. And I think we are just on a journey where we have to figure out what help as best and listen to them outside there, because we want to connect them and we want to offer them the best surrounding to make real their creative solutions to be successful ventures, and that's the passion about us. So really, please feel free to get in contact with us.
I think you mentioned a very important aspect, and that's the listening. You need to listen just to improve your own system. We have now a little bit of time, and I would like to open the round for some questions of the audience. If there are any questions, just let me know and I will come to you. We're talking about health tech as a trinational journey.
Maybe not only questions, as I said before, we are listening. If you have ideas where you would say, okay, this trinational organizations are realizing #3 this year of the Trinational Health Tech Days, I can imagine that would be very helpful to have this topic or to open it to that network or what else. Welcome, just tell it to us.
Are there any questions or advices at the moment?
And we have networks. And if we 5 here would put our, and we will do it. For my part, I can assure it. We can bring our network together, and this will leverage every one of you a lot, and accelerate as well. And I think this is very, very important. To talk, to be open-minded, and use our networks.
So if there are no questions from the audience, I will continue with exactly that question. And we have Engen here, and you experienced that. If I would ask you, or if I would let you know that you have one wish, what would it be? What would be your wish for the next Trinational Health Tech Days? Of course, but you cannot give the investment, of course. But
The aspect of investment and the big companies are already in place. I think the next step is to find the synergies and the potential opportunities between the startups and SMEs. I try to do this in our own ecosystem in Strasbourg, and if for all companies, all healthcare companies, all this ecosystem is open, we can grow, we can reach our goals for revenues faster, and so we will become more investable at the same time. So that will be my wish as a next step.
And is there a wish especially for the health tech?
I think so. It should start locally. Like sometimes it is better actually to look at a small area, do as much as you can, and then expand. Instead of me looking at what is going on in Malaysia or going into US, seeing what is going on, what are the opportunities in Switzerland, Germany, and then Austria, and continue, is better. It's better. It's more structured.
So hopefully you will still stay in our region if you scaled up, if you're a unicorn.
Yeah, I want to be a dragon. I don't want to be a unicorn.
So maybe for all of us, can you give us an outlook? You mentioned that it's number 3 this year. What are we going to expect this year? Is there
topics?
Actually, as Malaika said, it's the first time that we'll see again real. So the first time that I see Stefan, so physically, this is real. And as well, Malaika, okay, we saw each other for a long time not. So this is something very important. So this will be in Basel, workshops physically, maybe similar to here. And well, hopefully getting again nice awareness with the teams and also with the investors and corporates. But I'm pretty sure we will, because as I said before, it's a very nice network. It's people who like what they do, and the stars obviously are the engines and the Emily Hans, and this is what we are looking for. So this is the essence of our existence. Without them, we would be useless. So this is what we are trying to achieve, and I think there are many opportunities for many teams from everywhere. So we are accepting teams from everywhere, and not just from Baden-Württemberg. They can come from Israel, Finland, whatever you like, France. Hey, very beautiful.
So yeah, you can continue. Don't worry. We have one question, and I will just move towards you, and you can continue.
Yes, just to add, we just discussed about the topics for the next Trinational Health Tech Days, and we want to take into account how investors make their decisions, because from my expertise, it's very often that startups have no idea how investors looks at them. It's always about team and technology, but what else? And this can be also very helpful to try to get investment. But I'm really happy about a question.
Yes, you have one question. Maybe let us know your name and then your question, please.
Hi, yeah, my name is Antonia. I'm from a startup here in the position of HR working student. So a broader networking question. Do you also provide help or ideas for networking on the talent acquisition side? Because that's also not that easy for startups in health tech field, and working with universities might also be not that easy for startups. Do you have ideas on that side?
Thank you very much for your question, Antonia. I will give it to your side first, and then maybe we'll have an answer from university side.
100% perfect question, because there's oftentimes there are teams, we are looking for someone, okay, and yeah, this is very interesting. So we are also looking for people, and this is really, it's a challenge to get the right people in your team, and I think we could do more. So now speaking for the Life Science Accelerator, we could do more, and we are thinking about different formats. There are formats that are existing, like for example, KIT has something that's going in this direction, but I think there could be more, and I think this is a very important question. You are totally right. So we are not yet Boston area, you know, where you have turnover because there's an exit, so people get free. There's new people you can hire. We don't have these dynamics yet. But this is what we are actually also aiming for, that there will be the dynamics, there will be lots of teams, there will be exits, and again, there will be new expertise on the market.
Thank you for your side, for our Life Science Accelerator. I would like to give you the question to you, because Antonia mentioned that it is very difficult with universities too. So first question is, did you know that it is difficult, and how can you support them?
Of course it is difficult, because there is no culture in most of the universities to support startups. It's even sometimes an unfriendly culture for startups. Universities should not look to make money out of the patents and out of the royalties. They should give back impact to society and support you. And if you are successful, then they can take a little bit, and the little bit will be a big amount, much more. And I have seen many universities, not many, but I'm not only in one university I was working, where it was very hard to bring a startup. Now, I have to speak about University of Basel. So,
But
the
you
president,
have to be fast because we just have 1 minute left.
the president asked me to make such a friendly culture, and our innovation office is not in the normal structure of the university administration. I'm only reporting to the president. Yeah? It's a big, big difference. We are quite free. We are constructing platforms where students, professors, companies, foundations all can dock on. And this gives a ambience, this gives a very vibrant culture to go ahead. You can learn a lot there. I think this is very important for our future, and we have to do this trinational with our universities, Strasbourg, Basel, Freiburg.
Thank you very much for your answer. I would like to say thank you to all of you for being part in our roundtable and our panel discussion. Thank you very much. And of course, thanks to all of you for also being part, and have a nice day. Enjoy.